City Jazz Sessions is about great music, arts, and entertainment. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and available to performance art lovers worldwide. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can email us at cityjazzsessions@gmail.com.
Well, hello everybody. This is another edition of City Jazz Sessions. Your host Warren Harper, Magic Man 50, along with Leon Davis, the Lion King. There,
Lionheart. Lionheart.
the,
Where'd you
the
go?
Lion
The
Heart.
Lion
Okay,
King.
the Lion
Yeah,
Heart.
anything with lion
Anyway,
in it.
so today we got a special guest, St. Louis's own Jahmal Nichols. Jahmal, I'm gonna read a little bit about your bio here.
Okay, cool,
This
cool.
is deep. This is deep.
Hey, man.
Jahmal Nichols, bassist, composer, arranger, and producer, was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Jahmal is from a rare breed of bassist musicians that is able to fluently go from electric bass to acoustic bass on any genre of music. His goal ultimately is to bring the world a new sound and voice on the bass and provide great musicianship to any artist that he works with as a sideman. He comes from a very musical family and was introduced to the bass at the age of 13 after years of watching his father play bass at church and for numerous or of local artists on the R&B scene. Jamal started his own musical journey at Central Visual Performing Arts High School, also known as VAP, and North Carolina Central University, where he majored in music. It was there at Central Visual Performing Arts he was introduced to the upright bass and later to the electric bass. From this point on, Jamal intensely worked on perfecting his craft. Within 20 years of experience, Jamal has shared the stage with artists from all over the world, including Gregory Porter, Fontella Bass, John Faddis, Sean Jones, Terrell Stafford, Houston Person, Eric Roberson, Matt Wilson, Anat Cohen, Frank Foster, Julie Dexter, Anthony David, and many, many more. What a resume.
Man,
Jamal, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. I'm glad to be here. Happy to be here at City Jazz Sessions. Man, thank you for having me. It's been a while since I've been on here, actually.
Yeah, it's been a while, and it's good to catch up. So, what's going on right now with you? What have you been up to?
Well, first, touring, of course, touring. Still with Gregory. We basically picked back up steam from the 2 year hiatus of COVID. Um, Basically, just been going and going since earlier this year. Starting late last year, coming into the new year, kind of slow, but then gradually building up steam. So just been doing that, and then also doing the process of everything. I've been working on a new record too
All
of
right.
my own. So my this will be my third record coming out. Looking at maybe the first quarter of next year of 23.
This will be your third.
Yes, this will be my third.
Well, okay, I'll definitely want to get a copy of that.
Oh
Uh,
yes, sir.
what can you say about this new joint you're working on?
I'm coming from a couple of different angles that you don't normally see or hear me coming from.
Okay.
With the different kind of music and everything else like that. Some stuff is it's just going to be a different, but it's going to be me still. You're going to be able to tell it's me from the sound, from the melodies, from the everything.
Okay. So now, are we gonna hear more electric or more upright?
I don't know. A little bit of both. Actually, a little bit of both. I mean, I'm to the point right now in my musical career and where I am musically, where I'm not going to sit up here and just play a bass solo over everything. It's like it's called growth. So I'm
Right.
I'm growing and I'm just enjoying the elements around me and accompany the elements around me and making everything sound with a solid foundation.
Okay.
Mhm.
Beyond.
Okay.
Well, I mean, okay.
No, that's
Let
okay.
me ask
I'm
you two
good.
things.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay,
I mean,
go ahead.
I thought I'd have a chance to take a nap for this one, but no, you're gonna make me work.
You got to say something,
All
brother.
right, brother. How you doing?
I'm
Uh,
good. How about yourself?
so my understanding is that you're gonna be in St. Louis soon.
Yes, I actually, yeah, I live in St. Louis,
Oh,
and
okay.
so, but I actually will be at Jazz St. Louis on Wednesday night.
So now the crowds.
That
So you've been performing in St. Louis recently, right?
No, I haven't been in St. Louis. I tour all over the world with Gregory, but whenever I'm home, sometimes you'll see me do a little pop up gig. I rarely announce it, or if I do announce it, it'll be on my Facebook or IG page.
Now I remember during the summer, they were doing jazz at what was that we used to go to, Warren, where they had the tent outside, the dark room.
Yeah,
Darkroom.
yeah, it was the dark room.
Did you sit in on the
Mhm.
dark room?
I had a show there last year, late last year. So it was because it was cold outside, and they were just doing the tent still because COVID was still present and everything else like that. So I did that, and I did it a couple of times with some friends that I was just a sideman for.
Okay, okay. So you didn't sit in on any of the jam sessions when um, Ronnie was in
Bob the Boost.
town and
No, I missed all
you
those.
missed
I
all of
missed
that.
all those. Yeah, I missed all of that.
So so my question is how do you classify yourself as from St. Louis then, if you're not here doing music?
Well, I mean, you have to know my history prior to that.
All right, well, talk
So
to me.
I mean,
Tell me.
I grew up from St. Louis. I went to VAP. I agreed with everybody here that you could think of during that time. So Willie Aikens, rest in peace. Freddie Washington. Um, gosh, man, whoever you could think of. May Wheeler, Jeannie Trevor. I played with all of them, and they, took me in. Denise Times, they took me in all up under their wing because they heard something in me that I didn't even realize I had in me at that time, and noticed that I brought something different to the table than what they're usually accustomed to hearing and everything. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to keep going and building my repertoire, building up my knowledge of songs and my knowledge of music, and just pushing myself more and more. And so I remember going to Sprues at a young age, sitting in with Willie, and down to BB's, being there at 16, 17, late night. I shouldn't even been there at that age, but I was just there learning. I was going through what I had heard that the guys before me had did. They were like, yeah, we used to go sit in at the Moose. I remember my first place that I ever went to sit in was with the twins, with the Boston twins at the Moose,
Yeah.
and over there off of Newstead. And I mean, I was 15, and they vouched for us. It was about four of us that night that was out hanging, and we was like, we're gonna go see the Boston twins because they were our teacher at VAP. One of them was the teacher, Dwight. I'm sorry, and he they came, they saw us outside. They was like, yeah, we'll vouch for you guys, and so they vouched for us. We just sat in the back of the club. Nobody could really see us, and we sat in on a couple of easy tunes that we jammed out on, and then that was it. So then later on, I became, well, later on, I ended up going to college in North Carolina. I didn't finish school because I came into some financial issues, and so I ended up floating back and forth from St. Louis to doing cruise ships for about 4 years, and so I was going in between that. And so doing that, I got my first professional touring gig, I should say, with Fontella Bass.
Oh,
And Fontella, she used to play for my father's side of the family church, and everything else. So I knew of her. So that was a familiar face, but just traveling the world with a familiar face, it actually helps. And so in between all of that, I quickly became one of St. Louis's first call bass players.
so
Awesome.
go ahead. Did you have something, Warren?
So Yeah, tell us a little bit about your relationship with our good friend, the late Montez Coleman.
Oh man, so Tez, man, he took me in at a very young age, early, and took me up under his wing. I think I had to been like 15 or 16, 16, 16. And he and Tony Suggs had a trio, and they used to play together a whole lot. And so they took me in. They heard something from this 16-year-old kid on upright. That's when I first started playing upright. And they was like, "Yeah, we need to hear the wood more." And so I was like, "Okay, cool." And so they used to come pick me up, talk to my mom before gigs. Like, yeah, we'll make sure we have them at home on time. You know, no drinking, no alcohol, no drugs, or nothing like that. And so they actually looked out for me. Montez, he never shied away from telling me what was straight up. How to play this music or how to interpret the music. Um, Whether it's R&B or funk or straight ahead, it's like, man, his knowledge of music was just infinite, and our relationship just grew as time went on. Yeah, we you know butted head like anybody else. We're human and we're brothers. And the mentor became a friend, and then the friend became a brother. you know and I'm still looking at it. I still look at him as a mentor, because so many of us from my generation, I mean, even though I'm not that far younger than was, um, a lot of us that are closer to my age, we grew up through coming through his school of teaching around St. Louis. Just, and when I say school of teaching, literally being at the club or on the bandstand with him and just getting your head busted open for however long the gig is, because he was just that kind of dude. Smile at you, one of the most potent smiles I've ever seen. And that's where I think a little bit that's where I got my smile from, because I just watched him for years smile while
Yeah,
he's playing. And it's like, it's an infectious thing. And I don't even notice that I smile while I'm playing. But a lot of people are like, your smile is infectious. And, do you realize that you're smiling like that? And a lot of times I don't realize it. And so it's not just, the playing side that I got from him. It was that side of it too, the friendship side, the things that you would catch as just a regular person, as he would just talk the way he would talk, the what we would talk about, and a lot of times it's not just about music. We talk about sports. We'll talk about everyday living, and everything else like that. And so for him, when he left this place early this year, it's still fresh. You know what I'm saying? It's still fresh. And I think for a lot of us, especially for me, I only speak on behalf of myself. Since I've been going still, I haven't really had time to fully process it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still going. I'm still going. I'm always on the road. I'm still doing music. So just to sit back, sometimes I do have moments where I think about him a lot and miss him a lot, because sometimes I lost my mom about 6 years ago, and same thing. Sometimes I go to my phone about to call my mom, and it's like, damn, she's not here no more. Like, that's how I feel about him. Like, I want to hit him up. Yo,
right,
back in town. Let's
right.
go get a drink or go grab some food. Nah, he's not here anymore. But he's always here with me here.
I understand. Understand.
Yeah.
Any other good mentors that you want to give a shout out to?
Oh man. Tony Suggs is
Okay.
another one. Um, let's see who else. My dad, Wayne Nichols. Um, Corey James. Um, Emmanuel Harold, Keon Harold. All those guys. I look at these guys like mentors. Even though some of, well, yeah, I think everybody's older than me except for maybe one person.
So, what was it like working on cruise ships?
Ooh, I say this as a musician, as because I was in the show band. So the show band is the main band that does the Vegas shows and all that stuff like that.
Mm.
I would say being on the ship is not so much of a gig but a lifestyle. if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Because you're doing the same thing every day or every week. So depending on if you're doing a 4 or 5 or a 7 day cruise, so mainly 7 day cruises. So you're doing the same thing every week with a different group of people.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the band stays the same, the staff and stuff stays the same, but the passengers change. And so they come in, they dock in Miami or wherever the dock is, and they unload and load back up and then go back out. So it's a lifestyle. So it's like, okay, all right. So you get up, you do what you do. I mean, with us being musicians, we didn't have to work until late at night, so all day I'm free. So it's like, oh, okay, let me go ahead and just hang out, talk to people, and or just stay in my cabin, not do anything, or go to the gym, or go, eat or work out or whatever you're gonna do. So it's more so a lifestyle than a gig. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the ports. I just got tired of seeing the same ones every week. I mean, I got you go to Cozumel so many times, and I would do 4 month contracts. And so it's like, yeah, that was the minimum that they would let you do unless you were subbing. But I wasn't subbing; I was there full time. So 4 month contracts, I was like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And so, I was like, I don't want to see any blue water for a while. But it was like, nah. As I get older, I'm like, yeah, the good weather don't sound bad at all.
Yeah, so now you realize how good it was. I got you. I got you. So I do have a question. So
Yes.
as you know, having started in that profession at such a young age,
Hmm.
do you feel like there was other things that you could have done or might have wanted to do, or you just really settled into being a musician, and that's the great for you.
That for me, that's all I wanted to do. That's it from day one. That's what when I started getting into music around about maybe 11, 12,
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, this is something that I really want to do. And so it came a chance for me to do it at at 13, going on 14, going into high school. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and get serious about it and not just uh, do it as a hobby. So um, I put forth the time and so much energy into it. Along the way, I did pick up some little hobbies like fixing computers and stuff like that because it made sense to me. But ultimately, music was the main thing that I focused all my time on. And from like after my first year playing, I really dogged myself out because I was like I wasn't good. I didn't feel as though I was good. I got talked about and everything else. People used to talk about my playing and stuff. Kids being in high school. So it's like, man, okay, let me go home. So that summer I went home, summer of what is it, 95. Came back to school that next as a sophomore, and man, I did a full 360. Everybody was like, "You're not the same dude," because I sat there and I would literally practice for 8 to 10 hours that summer, that whole summer, working on reading, working on um, playing. Well, learning to play by ear came much harder to me than learning how to read. I don't know why, but it was just that, for me. So I picked up on reading music and understanding theory more so than playing by ear. Like because my dad, he's a bassist. He plays by ear. He doesn't read music, so he just naturally does it by ear. And so literally, it took me years to I wouldn't say mastery because I'm still learning, but just to get that craft up under my belt to where I'm more comfortable.
So
Hmm.
you didn't have any formal training in music.
Um, yes and no. So yes, I did have some formal training from my teacher, Thomas Moore. He's actually a guitar player, so
Mhm.
I never was formally introduced to a bass by a bass player besides my dad. So my dad, he never really taught me anything. He taught me a lot. I learned from watching him. without him actually sitting down with me and telling me this is what this string is, this is what this string is, this is what this is, and this is what this is. No, I just watched and focused in all my energy on watching him and listening to him at the same time, because it's like because he has the facial expressions. I mean, we mirror each other a lot of times, and so I've never formally had a basis as a teacher. I had in college. I did have one. His name is John Brown. He played a lot with. He played in I think the last band that Elvin Jones had, and he's fairly young at that age too, and so he was taking the bar. He was trying to take the bar at I think Duke in North Carolina, and so he was in and out a lot of times. So I didn't really get a chance to sit down with him for a massive amount of time, and so but I mean, I always look to him as another cat that I looked up to.
So what other instruments do you play?
I mess around on trombone, flute, piano, some guitar, and stuff like that. So, but I'm not as fluent as I am on bass. I mean, I guess the secondary instrument that I can play a little bit is piano.
What made you? You may have said this, but what made you interested in the bass? What pushed you to that and made you really decide that was an instrument that you wanted to primarily work with?
Well, two things. My dad,
Yeah.
he plays, and I just used to watch him, and I just used to be in awe with what he did on the bass, and I was like, wow, okay. But then the second thing was I wanted to play guitar. No, actually, I wanted to play drums first. And so I would practice with my dad on the drum pad. But then when I went to school, I was like, okay, well, I don't really want to play drums anymore. I was like, well, my dad plays bass. Let me play guitar. So I was going to play guitar. And Mr. Moore, he was like, yeah, there's no more guitars. You got to play bass if you're going to play anything. I was like, okay, I'll play bass. So the bass chose me.
Oh, okay.
In other words,
I like the way you put that.
That happens. That happens.
it
When I
chose
was in
me.
school playing saxophone, I had an alto, but they didn't have an alto, and they threw me on a baritone, and I'm like, whoa, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
But it's the same instrument, just different size.
Gotcha. Yep.
So,
The E flat.
so did you and your dad? Do you guys play together? Do you collaborate?
Normally with basses, we don't really play together because all you need is one bass player in a band at a time. But he will be on my next record.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
So we'll be playing and jamming together on the record on a tune.
So I want to throw this at you since you want to be different and you created an arrangement for two basses.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
I mean, but I mean that has been done before. I mean,
It's
you got the Super Bass album with Ray Brown, Chris McBride, and John Clayton.
Okay.
Where it's three upright basses at the same time playing. And it's a whole record. It's two whole records of that. And so, but on normal gigs, 95%, 99% of the time is just one bass player playing at a time.
Okay.
Right.
You could have many saxophone players. You can have as many horn players up there,
Right.
but normally the rhythm section, I mean, besides keyboard, you're gonna have one bass player, one drummer, unless maybe you're James Brown, who used to do that sometimes.
Okay.
So do you do big band music?
Yeah, I play from big band to small group stuff. Yeah. I was fortunate enough around here to start with the Jazz Edge Orchestra when it was under the direction of Robert Edwards. And then when Mr. Edwards left the Jazz Edge, he started his own band, and I was the bass player for that too.
Okay. Yeah. I know Willie Murray. They used to play a Jazz Edge, sax player.
Oh, the alto.
Yeah.
Yeah, Willie Ray. Yeah.
Yeah.
that he to this day. I mean, I know a bunch of cats on alto that have amazing sounds, amazing tones, but he was my first intro to what a alto saxophone is supposed to sound like, and I was just floored by the way he would lead the sections with like how far he would swing, how far he would lay back on melodies and the. I was like, okay, like playing Little Darling with him, you had to be focused because that's a ballad, and he's bending notes and laying it back, but it's all still in time. And so it's like, between
Awesome.
drums and bass, you have to be solid.
Awesome. I never heard him play live in the band.
You missed out. That's
Yeah, I probably should have stuck with the lessons, but I didn't.
Hey, it's all good. It happens. It happens.
Yeah. So tell us how you met Gregory Porter.
Oh, so I met Gregory. This had to been this had to been early before he was Gregory Porter. Before he
Oh,
turned into the entity Gregory. So I met him at Saint Nick's Pub in Harlem. I think this had to been like 2008, 2009, something. No, 2007.
okay.
This had to been like 2007. Yeah, about 2006, seven. And I sat in with the band, who at that time it was Emmanuel Harold, Chip Crawford, and Aaron James was in the band, and Yosuke Sato was there. And I was in town in New York. This is when I was thinking about moving to New York at that time. Just going up there to visit and stuff like that, and ended up hanging out with Tony Suggs, and he had a car, so we ended up driving over to St. Nick's Pub, and at St. Nick's Pub, everything, it was like, wow, it was like that hole in the wall that had so much soul. And I was just like, wow, what's going on in here? Everything was going on. And
Hmm.
so yeah, so it was it was it was very exciting to meet him. I heard about, this cat, didn't never really heard him before then, and then he opened up his mouth, and I think we played like a minor blues minority or something. I can't remember what it was. What would I sat in with him and stuff like that. And so that was my first time meeting him, and then uh, ended up getting called to fill in for Aaron James. Like maybe I think this had to have been either 2010 or 11. Uh, uh, where was it at? It was in New York. It was at the Winter Jazz Festival. At the Winter Jazz Festival and stuff like that. So yeah. So I was there. So I knew him before he became this big
Hmm.
guy.
I got you.
Yeah.
So are you guys really busy right now?
Well, since it's coming up to the end of the year, we normally calm down around about mid-November.
Okay.
So yeah, so literally we go out this week for one show, come back, then leave out the next week for about 4 weeks. I think I come back home on the 20th of November, and then after that we're off until mid July, not mid July, sorry, mid January, uh, going to South Africa.
Okay. So you're gonna leave after the show here.
Yeah. So after the show Wednesday, we fly to the UK
Oh, UK.
on Thursday, on Thursday, and then we leave on Thursday, and then we arrive there on Friday morning. It'll be Friday
Awesome.
morning by the time we get there.
So how do you compare playing over in Europe as opposed to playing over here in the States?
Um, I would say over in Europe, it's the crowds are more they are appreciative of what they're hearing.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of times here in the States, we get caught up in the glitz and the glory of everything,
Hmm.
and it takes away from the actual artist and the art that's being presented. Over there, like in certain areas of France or Germany or even the UK. It just depends on where you are. Like you'll be playing and you'll be playing your heart out, and next thing you know, you don't hear anything. You like while you're playing, you like normally you hear somebody with a reaction or something like play, yeah, something. Dude, it's like you can hear a pin drop, and then when the song is over, you hear this explosive eruption of applause because they are listening. They are focusing in on what everybody on that stage is doing to accompany each other. So I mean, I love playing in the States, and I love playing over there too. I just know that over there, they do have a fondness of art over there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I watch a lot of the old videos of cats, when a lot of the brothers went over to Europe, and
Yeah.
you just watch the scene, and those guys are just sitting there just sucking it in, quiet as a mouse, but they are focused on it.
Oh yeah, and that's how it is. Like I mean, because I've played a couple of those same rooms that like that's in Austria or
Mhm.
something that you see Coltrane or Monk or Miles. Somebody's playing over there. It's like, oh wow, like they played this same venue. So it's one of those nostalgic things too.
Wow, awesome.
So,
Awesome.
being on the road so much, um, do you feel like your life is out of a suitcase, or are you home enough to keep you grounded?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna speak to prior to the pandemic. Yeah, I felt as though I was living out of my suitcase. A lot of people were like, "Where you from? Where you live?" Oh, I live in my suitcase. So it's like okay, uh, yeah, because I mean, with Gregory's schedule prior to the um, the pandemic, we were doing 200 plus dates a year. Yeah, so it's like you constantly going, you constantly sleeping. I have moments where I would wake up in the middle of the night in some random hotel wherever we are staying at, and not knowing where I am because
Hmm.
I'm thinking I'm in the prior room the day before, and everything's backwards. So I'm like, I wake up in a panic. I'm like, wait a minute, where am I? And I'm like, okay, let me calm down. Okay,
Man.
this is where you are. You're in France. You're in Paris. You're in Moscow. You're wherever we will be. And so it's like, okay, I can breathe now.
Hmm.
So, did you anticipate that? I mean, did anyone help you prepare for that kind of lifestyle on the
No,
road? Or is just
n- no, that's nothing that no one can prepare you for. All they can do is tell you, and then you have to learn on the job. Because like I can tell cats like the younger generation of cats, I can give them advice on what to do that can help them, but it's ultimately up to them to find their own way and deal with it because everybody's different. Like as a human, some people can sleep on planes. Some people can sleep on trains. Some people can sleep in different beds because sometimes those beds are not that comfortable. So it's like, okay, you may be staying a 4-star hotel or 4 or 5-star hotel in London is not the same as a 4 or 5-star in Romania. So it just depends. It's like everybody's body and temperament is different. So it's majority of it's mental, but also it is physical because I mean, that's why they try to get you in at least a day ahead of time uh, on international travels because that way your body can somewhat acclimate to the new time zone
Right.
instead of just coming straight in on the flight. But I have done that too. Just come straight in on a flight and go straight to the stage from the States. It's like, oh, okay.
So I got a question.
Mhm.
What places have had the best food?
Oh, let's see. I mean, Seoul, South Korea,
okay?
Mm, okay.
Australia, um, um, what is it? Austria,
Hmm.
uh, certain parts of Germany.
Nope.
That was my first like experience in like a schnitzel. Like, you know, that, you know, you don't really get that over here in the States like that. But having a schnitzel I was like, okay, this is pretty cool over here in Germany. Um, France also, yeah. One of my favorite restaurants is in Paris, actually.
Okay.
It's a West African place called Babylon Bis, and man, I me talking about it wouldn't even give it justice. You have to try it. So if anybody listening or you guys, if you ever get a chance to go to Paris, go to a place called Babylon Bis. I'm giving it a free plug. You won't be disappointed. Trust me. You know, I was like, man, this is like I could literally eat that every day.
Mm.
I could eat it every day. It's that good.
How
Never
would
had a
you
bad
describe
day. I mean, picture like braised chicken, rice, plantains, spices, red beans. I
it?
mean, it's good. It's West African, man. It's so good. So good.
Making me hungry.
Hey, man, you know.
So, uh, uh, have you worked with many women in the jazz field?
Yeah,
You've had?
yeah, I have. I've worked with different ladies from like I said, Lakeisha Benjamin is
Mhm.
one. Tia Fuller. Um, who else? Oh, Somi. Her name is some jazz singer, Somi, or world singer actually. Somi. Who else? See, now I'm drawing a blank. I've played with so
No,
many,
I
but
understand.
yeah,
Right, you played with so many.
those are, yeah, I played with so many. Yeah, I love, and they all are different in their own
Sure.
way. They are all amazing.
So, with doing so many different things, and so many different venues, and playing one night here, 2 nights there, a month here, 6 months there, how did you document or keep track of those ideas and memories? I don't know. Were you a photographer? You just keep programs. I'm sure you kept some kind of memento, or
Oh yeah,
did
oh
you
yeah. I have different things that I do.
that you
So
collect? Yeah.
I'm not really a photographer, but sometimes I will photograph some things. But I would keep like for years. I would keep hotel keys. Um, it's weird. I would keep hotel keys, ink pens from the room.
Mm-hmm.
I would keep airplane tickets. I still have a lot of that stuff from early on traveling. Um, I have, I mean, passports that I had to get renewed.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Lanyards. Like I'm speaking of that like this.
Uh-huh.
Tag. Like I have so many of these. It's ridiculous. Um, um, I would do like videos, like at the time doing like screenshots of shows that be on um, like different websites and on YouTube, and so I would post like different sections, like whether it be myself soloing or something that the band was sounding good together on, or something like that. Um, and yeah, I have ink pens. Man, I have so much stuff like momentum. I have like 3 or 4 totes of stuff that I just held on to. It's like, okay, like I want to pass it down to my kids so they can see, hey, I have, my dad did do this and do that with these people. I like even like sometimes I would even take like the poster. I didn't really have no room to put it in my suitcase. Like it'd be a poster on the outside of the venue. I would ask them, could I get that poster? And because it had my name on it. So anything that has my name on it, whether it be programs or posters or anything like
Right.
that. Yeah.
So, do the fans overseas like to do like they do over here? A lot of them trying to take videos and stuff like that. Was that more?
Uh, yeah, they do. They take videos, but they're you don't have a whole section of people with their phone out. You may have like one or two people scattered, or three, maybe 10 people scattered throughout the place with their phone out recording certain things, but not the whole set. Like here in the States, like I remember one time, I can't remember where we were. I sat and watched this lady record the whole either she was recording the whole show or she was on FaceTime with somebody in the front row. In the front row. So
Giving out a free concert. Huh?
You ain't gonna hide that. I didn't know if she was on Facebook Live or she was just recording it.
No shame.
Go back and just have a reference of, because a lot of people do that. They record,
sure,
or they'll do a voice memo just because it's a special moment happening for a lot of people, and even for us on the bandstand, especially for us, because especially in this band, because every night is different, because we don't always play the same songs every night. And every night Gregory, he'll sing it differently, or we'll play it differently. Just to keep the irons sharp and just constantly pushing each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are some of, I'm sorry, what are some of the drawbacks or difficult challenges that you have felt that you've experienced in your musical career?
Well, let's say, that's a good question. Some of the drawbacks, I would say, would be possibly don't get me wrong, traveling is cool, but it can be tiring. Mm-hmm. It can wear you down. It can control you. Like literally, before the pandemic, I felt my body was behind itself by maybe 5 years. Because I kept pushing myself to keep going. And it's like, okay, now I'm getting older. I don't know, do you, because music has changed quite a bit. Like, okay, do you see yourself touring at the age of 75 or the age of 60, out here doing the road warrior stuff, it's like, do you want to do that? So I have to ask myself that kind of stuff. And, I would say, also just trying to keep a stable diet out there, or just a regimen to where you can stick to where you don't burn yourself out on eating fast food or bad foods and stuff like that. So, you have to be mindful of that, and not get caught up into the rat race of drowning out your sorrows in liquor and drugs too, So I try to stay away from that. Like, I'll have a drink occasionally, and but not get drunk. It was a point in time where I did drink a lot, but not to the point where I wasn't operable. It's like I just was like, okay, I need to go to bed. Okay, I'm gonna have a couple of drinks and I'm going to bed. But that's about it.
Right, that's that maturity level.
Oh yeah,
all the fun is great.
Know when to say when. Know when to say when.
Right. Know when enough fun is enough fun.
There you go.
Nothing good happens outside after midnight.
Hey man,
So I know you're not married, right?
Nope.
All right, I want to throw that out there for all them hot women.
There you go.
So
he said, hold it down now. Somebody might be hating on that.
Well, so I'm sure you've, with all of the traveling and stuff, you've had, many opportunities to meet, people that share your interests and stuff. Why are you still single?
I have one of the hardest jobs in the world, where a lot of trust has to come into it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of trust, because people think, because you're out here on the road, that you're doing this and you're doing that, and they think a lot of times, a lot of people think that it's all fun and games, but it's not. I'm in my room, sleep, or trying to get sleep. So it's just, everybody's different. Everybody has a different story about who or what they do on the road. I mean, me myself personally, I try to stay out the way and just go to my room and keep what was the saying that my friend said? Keep the casualties low. Say zero to low.
Mm, I hear you. I hear you. Road life.
Yeah, road life is the road life. It is what it is on so many different aspects of it. You know,
So what do you think
Now,
some of
you and me. No, good.
what do you think some of the greatest changes to music have been during your career?
Technology, technology. Being able to cut music from home. Like literally, I have people that will send me tracks or music, anything like that, and say, "Man, I need bass over this. What can you do? Can you play bass over this? Yeah, I can play bass over. No problem.
Hmm.
Yeah, no problem." So what I do, I set up. I have a studio set up here at home that I also travel with. So it's portable, and I can record bass anywhere in the world that I want to, unless it's upright. Upright, I do mainly at home
mm,
unless it's in a studio in whatever city we're at. But because I don't travel with my upright bass with me,
Mm.
my electric bass I travel with me. So I'll, 9 times out of 10 it'll be somebody asking for some electric bass, and so I'm like, okay, cool, not a problem. I'll, throw bass on it, then throw it, send it back to them, in an hour. So it's like, man, you get to do that. Like technology is so much better than what it was when I was coming up, like in the '90s and even in the early 2000s. It's like, man, uh, cameras are nice now, so you can catch footage of yourself, post it on social media. That's where the things have changed. Social media also, being out there playing, posting yourself, and you're basically promoting yourself,
Sure.
for the most part.
So one of the issues that we deal with, doing this
Hmm.
show is we like to have artists, play some of their music or, um, they do covers and that kind of stuff, and we
Hmm.
have to deal with copyright issues.
Yep.
So, how has your challenges been with copywriting?
Well, with copywriting, I haven't really had any problems out of that because, especially like recording music, you have to just get the license
Hmm.
to be able to do that. So you pay for that before it comes out, and that's and it goes off of that, and you have it set up to where you can have it automatically taken out,
Okay.
or you can just do it yourself. So yeah, I'd go through like easy song licensing and stuff like that, sites like that where I can just put in the information and it just takes it on out.
So technology
So
again has made life easy as far as the copywriting stuff has for you
yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So
good.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I like it. I like it, people being able to keep tabs on that stuff because
mhm.
somebody may do a version of one of my songs per se, and that I've written, and of course you won't you probably get something from the back end from that too. So it's always good to keep having an eye out for that.
Hmm. So um, do you have a desire to punch Spotify in the face? Are they paying you money?
well,
Are you?
well, I'm torn in between because, um, being that I don't have management or anything like that,
Hmm.
it's a good way for me to put my music out there. And I think it had to be like, I think what I got was some crazy number like $100 or something like that, $75 or something like that.
For all those plays. And
Yeah, so it's like, okay, but then at the same time, it gives me uh, that future reference of people knowing who I am. Oh, this is Jahmal Nichols. I'm familiar with your work, or I'm familiar with you for playing for this guy, but I've been looking for your good that my stuff is on all those, like on Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, everything else like that. I'm all for people, uh, uh, listening and streaming or downloading my music because I mean either way, it's coming back around to me, but then at the same time, it's broadening my the
Sure.
world.
Yeah. Hopefully, it'll create some ticket sales, maybe.
Hey man,
So
hopefully.
let's talk about this upcoming show. Let's give us some details. Who you got and what you're gonna do.
Okay, I have joining me Carlos Scooter Brown on alto sax, on piano Adam Manis,
Oh,
and on drums Emmanuel Harold, who I tour with Gregory Porter also with.
awesome lineup there. I
Yeah, and
heard.
then I have a couple of guests that's gonna come through too.
I remember when last couple times I was talking to Montez. He threw that name out. He said that look out for him, Carlos.
Carlos. Oh yeah, Carlos. Yeah, he's a force. Definitely that's on his way to great things. Always loved playing with him from even when he was. I remember meeting him for the first time. I think it was 2009, 10. We did Keon's his first record CD release party at the Bistro, and um, his dad Carlos Senior brought him to the spot, and I was just like, I just remembered him being this young high school kid or young dude. I was like, okay, cool, and now it's like he's on his way to being one of the cats now, and
Right, right.
he actually fills in for the saxophone player for us with Gregory sometimes whenever he can't make it.
Juice.
No, Yosuke's been going for about 6-7 years now.
Oh, it been going that long? Oh
Yeah,
wow.
he's been gone a long time. Yeah, so he's been.
Okay.
I think yeah. So it's right now it's Tavon Pennicott.
Okay. I met him when that time when he was at the old bistro. That was wild.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was probably like about 10 or 11, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would really hope that Gregory will come back soon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping so too. Maybe because I mean, the last time we did something, I think it was before last year. I think it was at the Two Hill a few years back, like 2016, 15, 16 or something like that. Because it's
Oh,
been a minute since he's came through here. But I
right.
mean, he's always close by. We're always close by. Like sometimes we'll do something, a lot of stuff in Chicago, or we haven't been to Kansas City. Uh, we did Memphis not too long ago too. So yeah, so we nothing too far away. Like we were in Indianapolis and everything else like that. So we always come close, but never to St. Louis.
So does he have his tours schedule posted somewhere?
Yes, on his website, gregoryporter.com.
Okay, cool. I'll check that out
Yep.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. He has shows. Yeah, it'll be lined up. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Maybe
then
I.
we have different times of the year when we do the states. Like we'll do like a month and a half of the states, like in like early summer, late spring, early summer, something like that.
Yeah.
And then after the summer too. So.
Yeah. Tell them St. Louis fans miss him. Come on back.
Oh yeah. He loves St. Louis too. He loves St. Louis.
Okay.
He loves everything about St. Louis. He like the soul, the food, everything.
Now, where is he from?
Bakersfield, California.
California. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
You play much out there?
Whenever we do the state stuff, so yeah, we just did Sacramento. We did a festival there, and we also just did Monterey.
Right.
Yep. And then also we did earlier this summer we did the Hollywood Bowl. The
Oh, wow.
Holly, yeah, because they
How is
changed
that
it.
venue?
How is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's cool. It's very cool. It's a cool place, man. I mean, the energy is always electronic. Um, always electric. And we did the they call it the Hollywood Bowl Jazz Festival. Now it was called the Playboy Jazz Festival. So
Oh,
there's no more Playboy Jazz Festival. So we did the Hollywood Bowl. And so with that festival, so when one band finishes, the stage just rotates
Oh,
to the
wow.
next band.
Yeah.
So we're setting up behind. So right before us was Kenny Garrett. So no Christian Scott. So Christian Scott, they were playing, and so as they were ending their set, the stage just rotated around to us,
oh
and
man,
so
that's
we ended
cool.
up playing. So yeah. I mean, I love that venue. I love LA. Period. Just I mean, from that venue because you can see it's like a hill that goes up, and it's just a sea of people, and it's like wow, and you see celebrities just hanging out in the front part in the private VIP sections and stuff like that, or they may be backstage talking and everything else like that.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
wait to get back to Cali. Well, all right,
yeah.
right. Leon, you got anything else?
No, I'm pretty much done.
I
I
mean,
did have one question though.
Okay.
Um,
Hope I got an answer.
well, yeah, I'm sure you do. Well, so what do you want to do now from this point on to the end of your stage playing days? Because you mentioned at 75, you don't know if you want to be hopping hotels and
I mean, right. I mean that's a whole thing within itself. I mean,
right,
I'm still gonna be working doing stuff, but I mean, I've gotten into doing scores or doing just getting into that section of because if you can create on the instant right there as you're watching a movie or document or whatever you may be scoring the music to, and you're just going with whatever the mood is right then and there. Like that fascinates me. um and I kind of wish I got into it earlier,
mm-hmm,
but better late than never. Because that's just a whole nother world that no one really uh, told me about. All I just knew coming up was gotta play music, gotta do everything live, gotta do this live, gotta do this live. But then I got into as time went on, got into production and and scoring music and stuff like that. That's a whole different art form that takes time to develop and to understand certain programs, which comes back to the technology side of it.
yeah,
That it all everything's not analog anymore.
right,
Everything everything's pretty much digital.
digital now,
Now
yeah, mm-hmm,
so it's like just like you pay your bills, you can do everything by your phone. I remember back in the day, I came up in the age where my mom used to send me into nationals, pay my electric bill.
yeah. We ain't
I
had
remember.
nationals in a long time.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. So things have changed.
things have
Things
changed,
have changed. Things have changed. And even sometimes I had to catch my dad. Sometimes I had to help him out.
right, right,
With what's that? Not PayPal, but Cash App and stuff
cash
like
out,
that.
Oh
right,
yeah, yeah,
Sending stuff, to his grandbabies and stuff like that. Oh man, okay, I got you. I'll send you something. Yeah, but everything like that. So yeah, so I mean, I see where things are right now. It's probably going to change again in the next 10 years.
sure,
it's always
Because
changing.
everything's evolving and it's going at a fast rate, and so it's like okay, I try to keep up on all the updated, software and any type of sounds that I may need to help me progress to that next level because I'm always growing. I don't want to stay stagnant. I don't want to stay just here at like treading water. I don't want to just tread water. I just want to keep uplifting and keep going. And even if I have, helping out the younger generation too,
right,
upcoming cats who might have questions or anything like that. I'm not one of those cats that you have to tiptoe or walk on egg shells and stuff. No, you can come and talk to me. I'm reachable. I will reply. I, you know, I don't, hold back anything. If you have a question about any type of thing, whether it's live or traveling on the road or just dealing with life off of the road, because a lot of people, that's a lot of things that a lot of musicians don't talk about, is life outside of the stage. You know, what do
Mhm.
you do? What do you do when you're not on the road? Because it's like, okay, you're an amazing musician, but do you have that instrument to attach to your body 24/7?
Sure.
Do you watch ESPN? Do you watch Game of Thrones? Do you watch anything? Stuff like that.
Sure.
Because a lot of times that will tell you about a person. What
Mhm.
kind of a person? Do you want to be? Do you still want to be like this person? Because a lot of the younger cats, they look up to a lot of guys,
Sure.
but but it's like, okay, do you want to stay doing this, or do you want to do that? What do you want to do? And a lot of times, a lot of cats will explain to them like, oh no, I like playing chess, or I play video games,
Hmm.
or something like that. I get on video games and I play video games, or I like to go to the court, play basketball, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Things that tell you more about the person.
Yeah, because it's more to it than just music.
Absolutely.
It's more to it.
So, how many on the average guitar player like yourself? How many axes does a guy have?
I stopped counting after two. I mean, at one point in time, I had so many. I used to have like two uprights, and like I think the most I probably counted at one point. I think I had like maybe 25, 26 good bases.
Okay.
And so I mean it's still not far from that number, but I mean I know I gave a lot away to people who I felt were deserving of it.
Mhm.
And
Good.
I mean, around town, like I've given, mainly it's been around town in St. Louis, giving giving bases to at least three or four different cats, because I'm not playing it anymore. It's just sitting there.
Right.
I'm like, I wanted to go to good use. And what I would tell them is like, please don't sell it,
Hmm.
you know, because I'm giving it to you. I can see if I sold it to you, then yeah, you can do whatever you want with it. But if I gave it to you, please don't sell it. If you're not interested in the guitar anymore, either pay it forward to somebody or give it back.
Sure.
You know, and that's why I give it to cats who I know are deserving, or not even just deserving, but who I know who will utilize it to its fullest potential.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, tell me, I listen to a lot of old school jazz because I just grew up listening to the stuff my daddy did, and he was born in
Yeah.
Illinois. But
Hmm.
who is your favorite straight ahead old school bass player?
Ooh.
Going back.
I mean, one. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, I have a lot, man, because I mean, they were part of my foundation of learning. So, I mean, if I was to pick just one, I would say that mirrors me or how I feel would be Ray Brown.
Okay. Okay.
That would be like my number one. But I also listen to Paul Chambers, Slam Stewart, um, Major Holly, um, Jimmy Garrison. Um, Eddie Gomez,
Mm.
all these different cats, man. It's the list is endless. Sam Jones, um,
Yeah.
so many people who I just listened to coming up as a kid, and even in my 40s now, I'm like, I forgot about this record, and so I go back and revisit, certain
Hmm.
records, and I'm
Sure.
like, wow, that okay, Ron Carter,
Yeah.
people like that, it's like you got people like Ron Carter who are still out here,
Still out
yeah,
there.
still out here working, traveling, doing records and stuff like that. So yeah, it's man, but I'll say like those names. Out of all those names, I think Ray Brown touched me the most as far as what a bass and what a bass player should sound like, and what it feels like on record and live.
Mm.
And I was just like, I would sit there and I would study him. Like it was bad for me because I was just like, just drawn into his approach to music, and it was like, man. And I'd never met. Well, I did meet him on accident. I met him. He was crossing the street at Grand in Washington,
Oh,
and I'm at the stoplight. So I just see somebody walking with a bass. It didn't compute to me that Ray Brown had just performed, finished the set at the club. And I was like, because I think I was on my way to a gig or just hanging or something. I can't remember what it was. And then I was like, oh shit, that's Ray Brown. As I yelled out the window, Mr. Brown, I love you. And I looked back, I just saw him throw up a hand, throw up an arm. But it was like, man, because I was thinking, okay, that might be just somebody coming from the symphony or something like that. I didn't put two and two together that,
right.
he was coming from the club. And so I was like, oh man, dude, that's what, he's one of my heroes that I, never got a chance to meet. And
Right.
I'm hoping to meet Ron Carter one day, and talk to him for a split second. I'm cool with his one of his sons. Oh, before I go, I want to tell you this story. So we did the Hollywood Bowl, right? Festival. And so we're normally all the artists stay at the Lowe's, which is at the bottom of the hill, the Lowe's Hotel. And so I got on the elevator going up to my room, and this guy he was at the show. He was like, man, I really love your bass playing. And I was like, man, appreciate you, man, appreciate you. And he was like, yeah, you may have heard of my dad. I was like, who is your dad? And he was like, oh, Keita Betts. And I was like, oh, basses for everybody to play with. He said, my dad used to play for Ella Fitzgerald and a lot of different people. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And so I kept running into this guy, like, for the next day, and from that night to the next morning, I ran into him like maybe 5 times. And so that morning, we were about to leave the hotel going to the airport and saw him again. He was getting into his car, about to head back. I think he lived in Vegas. And he was like, I got somebody I want you to meet. I was like, okay, cool. And so he was like, yeah, man. He's like, he was like, man, meet Ray Brown Jr. I was like, it was crazy because those two cats, their dads were very influential on my bass playing and my, and I was like, man, to meet them was like meeting an extension of their father. So I was like, because they look just like, I was like, man, I didn't put two and two together when I saw them, but then when I saw them, I was like, oh man, those are some of the cool moments that you get when you're touring and out, because you never know who you're going to run into or who I've had celebrities that want to meet me. I'm like, dude, you know who you are? Like, man, I'm here to see you. I'm here to see y'all. Like, man, wow.
Well, hopefully people will be saying that about this podcast, man.
Hey, man, hopefully. Yes, sir. Definitely going to promote it.
Okay, well, it's been a pleasure having you on, and we appreciate your time.
It's a pleasure having you back on.
For Wednesday, this Wednesday, Jazz St. Louis, Black Frequency, 7:30.
Yep.
Be there or be square.
There it is, baby.
All right, Jahmal Nichols, y'all.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Be safe.
Peace.
City Jazz Sessions is brought to you by St. Louis City Jazz, a 501c3 company dedicated to music education and appreciation. The CEO is Magic Man 50, and for more ways to connect with City Jazz Sessions, visit cityjazzsessions.wixsite.com/St. Louis. The City Jazz Sessions team includes host, content director, and guest coordinator, jazz great Ronnie Burrage. Follow Ronnie at ronnieburrage.biz. Host, website designer, graphic artist, content director, and guest coordinator, singing sensation Leica. Discover more about Leica at leicamusic.com. Additional production services are provided by Lions Den Productions. Go to thelionsdenstl.wixsite.com/home. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more great content.